everybody. Cokeman 250. And I want to talk to you a little bit more about stewardship. You know, the Bible talks a lot about being a good steward. And being a good steward of all the blessings that God gives you. Being a good steward of your job. Being a good steward for your company. If you work for a company, act like an owner. Don't act like you work for a company and it's not coming out of my pocket. Act like an owner. Take that accountability, hold yourself accountable to being an owner. And it's the same way with stewardship on things in your life. If you're not working for a man and you have something, then you are the owner. So you don't have to act like an owner. Just be the owner and be a good steward of it. You know, be a good steward of, like, whenever I buy meat deals, whenever I find all those deals on meat and I start filling up the freezer, be a good steward of that deal and be a good steward of that meat that you have by vacuum sealing it and putting it away the best you can to preserve it and maintain it, to maintain its integrity until you get ready to use it. You're not being a good steward if you stock up on cheap meat and stuff, and then throw it in the freezer and it gets freezer burnt and you throw it in the trash because you can't hardly eat it because it tastes like cardboard. That's not being a good steward. So be a good steward of things. If if somebody gives you something, take care of it and be a good steward of it. And then whenever you're done with it and you don't want it no more, or you don't have the need for it anymore, pass it on to somebody else. That's being a good steward. Teach your kids, and I can't emphasize this enough. Teach your kids to be good stewards. When I grew up, I said in that video, I wasn't taught to be a good steward, and stewardship is hard. It's harder to learn, I believe, than a lot of things. For me, it's something I fight all the time because stewardship takes a little more time, and it takes a little more time. It takes a little more effort. Like I said, I could go out and work hard and make lots of money, but I would just spend it all away on nothing, and I'd go back because I knew how to work hard. You know what I mean? I could do it over and over, but to tell you the truth, I may not have had to work so hard if I was a good steward from the start. So stewardship not only is the responsible thing to do, it's also easier on you. Because I don't, if I steward and I vacuum seal the deals that I buy up and I store them away properly to where they're going to be there, they're going to be good when I need them, and that's just on an everyday use. What if it comes down to an emergency situation or something happens? Say, I'm thinking worst case scenario here. Say I lose my job and I've packaged up all these deals that I've bought. They're going to be there. I've done the stewardship, and they're going to be there when I need them. Stewardship is also coming back around and seeing what your efforts and your hard work have done for you. And the stewardship of, like, buying deals and packaging them up right is a couple years down the road when you start rotating through some of this stuff and using it, you're seeing how your stewardship helped. And so if you teach your kids that, it's gonna help them so much more down the road. And one of the biggest, there was one thing that my grandpa taught me when I was a kid, and it fits into stewardship, and it's not to waste. And don't waste. If you're gonna get something to eat, then you eat it. How many times do you go to a Chinese buffet or something and you see people have got up and left and they have these full plates of food? Well, that's not very good stewardship. And the mindset those people are thinking is, I done paid for it, what's it matter? Well, what it matters is whenever they keep throwing food away like that, it drives food costs up. So in a year when you go eat that same place, it may be $2 more a person. But if you steward it right and you do your part, it's like people who shoplift, you know. And this doesn't really fit in with stewardship, kinda. I mean, it kind of does. But people who shoplift, yeah, the worst thing about that is they may have got away with something free, but the company is going to make up for that somewhere, and it's going to cost me more. So if you see somebody shoplifting in a store, you know, you need to do something about it. You need to talk to them. You need to talk to that person. If you don't want to turn them in, you need to tell somebody. And the reason is because that shoplifter is driving prices up for you. So you're being a good steward by telling on them or having a talk with them. I've took the approach of talking to them myself on the few occasions that I've seen it happen. And I've seen a young man come in and open a bottle of tea and drink it, and then he was going to put it behind some stuff on the shelf. And I said, "Are you just going to stick that back there after you drink it? I think you need to buy that." And he had some milk and some eggs in his hand, and I could tell he couldn't afford it. And he walked there, I'm guessing, and maybe he was thirsty. That's fine. And he said he was going to put something back, and I said, here's $1. Take it up and pay for it. And the thing is, those are good ways of teaching somebody or calling somebody out. You know, you don't have to be a jerk and say, "Dude, you're stealing that. I see you. I'm calling the cops." You know, I didn't know his situation, and I'm not saying that's how I'd act for every one of them. But being a good steward is doing something about the situation when it's there and taking the time and the effort to do it, because that helps me save money. Like that bottle of tea, it was just going to go in the trash, and that's profit loss for that business. Well, that business needs to make that profit up somewhere, or else they may be laying somebody off. So stewardship is all kinds of stuff. It's not wasting food. It's taking the extra time and effort to preserve or store something so it's going to be there down the road. It's taking care of your tools, which I'm not the greatest at. It's taking care of the things you have so that it'll last you longer, and that you won't have to keep buying things so often and spending your money that you work hard for. So stewardship also helps you not have to work so hard. Stewardship. Be a good steward. And it's just a little pep talk. This is Coke Man 250 from the land of the free and the home of the brave. God bless everybody. And remember, prep smarter and pray harder. Be a good steward.